What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology Retold action. Spawning in the bottom of the map, in the blue color, playing as Thor. It's everyone's favorite Guess the Smurf. Is it Green Sea Squash? Is it Grass and Groom? Is it some random who's decided to befriend an American citizen in order to get themselves an American flag next to their name? And everyone will infiltrate America. You got to protect those borders. I'm just kidding. I don't care. But nonetheless, it's Bones. And yes, he's playing as Thor, but he's up against no easy to defeat opponent over here. Not at all. We've got in the red color here playing as Kronos. His name is Kimo. Kimo currently very, very high on the ladder, playing incredibly well. He obviously off the back of an incredibly strong showing in Wrath of the Gods, taken in that third place. But whenever you play against the Smurf, there's always that little something that goes on in the back of your mind, and you're just like, who am I playing against? What do I have to expect? Now, obviously, there's two types of way to play Age of Mythology. One is you play your opponent, and two is you just play the god, right? And in a way, just playing the god is a lot more challenging than playing an opponent. Not to go on too much of a rant about it, but it's a serious advantage to know who you're playing and then your opponent not knowing who they're playing. So I know this from personally speaking, because I know that if I ever jump on an account that isn't mine, I will perform a lot better. I think my win rate goes up by like 20 to 25%. Not even kidding. So it's just like, yeah, if somebody knows who they're playing against, it's a completely different game. So we'll see how Kimo is going to be able to react to this. Now, Kimo is obviously one of the best. He doesn't really have like a play style which can be exploited, so to speak. He's got a very straight down the line sort of play style. You know what you're going to get. He's not really throwing random stuff at his opponent all too often, though. You know, he does like to experiment from time to time, especially on the ladder, as we do see the temple coming through. Little cheeky berserk here, getting angsty with that oracle over here. And we'll just take a quick look over here. We've got that girdle of Hippolyta with a little bit of hit points there for the ranged soldiers. Up on this top corner here, we've got that blanket of Empress. So going to be making those buildings a little bit stronger. On this side, we've got that Hestia's Hearth, reducing the villager train time. Onto this bottom side of the map, we've got that Thundercloud Shoal here with some vulnerability to pierce going down for the human soldiers. But we are seeing Prometheus coming through here for Kimo. A very late advance time here for Bones. So he will be feeling the heat, as it doesn't look like there's even a temple down at this point. And this is something here that, you know, Mr. proved, I think, twice over against two really, really strong players, maybe even 3 times over, is that Thor against Kronos does not need this economic advantage to have a good game. So this is going to be a very, very challenging defense here, it seems, for Bones moving forward. Now, he can drop a temple somewhere on the map. I don't know. Wait, did he? I don't think he's even thrown a temple down. Am I wrong on this? I don't think he's even thrown it. There's the temple coming up. So super late, but Kimo could just deconstruct this Dwarven armory, and then he's in onto this gold mine to kick this game off. We are going to be seeing Copper Weapons half researched. Hammer of Thunder has already been queued up as well to be used straight away. So we'll see if Kimo wants to use this or not. I mean, if he sees the temple just about to complete, maybe he goes, oh, I'll just deconstruct that, and then there's not going to be any Hersa action. But killing off this Dwarven armory is killing off 2 dwarves, basically, in a way, as the Prometheans come through. Town Center shooting this one down, going to take this out. We aren't seeing that alluvial clay coming through, as the Dwarf Berserk going to be finishing this one up, and it does look like Bones is getting away with this to some degree, as on the backside, we're seeing Kimo just simply grabbing himself up a town center. No surprises there. This is the way he likes to play. Now, part of me would say this is a little bit risky. This isn't really your best bet against a Thor player. You really want to put the aggression on with Kronos. You've already got the economic boost of playing Atlantean, plus you've got the economic boost of being able to build some Prometheans out. And in going for this second town center, you're actually playing into your opponent who's advancing really, really late. However, in a way, because you advance quickly and got your town center up fast, you're actually able to catch up. So there is a little bit of give and take here. So it is a good idea. However, this early attack, simply put, has not gotten any value at the start of this game. Hersa is now out. Units are free to come out. And Bones can actually kick this one off with a fairly heavy amount of Hersa to start cooking up that favor. And it could also go into like mass Valkyrie behind all of this as well. Often we see Forceti here just on the fact that you're getting out, you're getting access to like Mithril Breastplate, and you can go into a whole bunch of trolls or berserks. Like obviously Mithril Breastplate for the berserks, but you can also go into a whole bunch of trolls as well once the favor comes in. But yeah, if you go through Freya, you're still getting a bunch of favor if you build out a whole bunch of Hersa, and you can get Cess Rumnir as well, which is a little bit more useful than Hall of Thanes is for your own Hersa. So, you know, this isn't a terrible idea if he wants to go this path, but he's going to be making some berserkers out to kick this game off. And Kimo's going to be retreating away. Kimo's getting up some walls over here. And yeah, like this is where I start to say this defensive play is playing into that Norse player's sort of court. Because yeah, sure, you get the town center up first. Sure, you've got an economic advantage, but you have to like translate that advantage to something, because your town center costs more than the Norse players, because your villages gather slower than the Norse players. So there is quite a bit. Also, your units are not as strong as the Norse players, but you do have that edge of earlier economy being stronger, given, you know, the citizens come out a bit faster and they don't have any drop sites. So practically speaking, you do all right. As the Promethean Offspring, just going to be poking her in here, just checking the town center, confirming the town center, and then running away. So the question is, where to next for Bones and also for Kimo here? Now, Kimo, and I have noticed a lot of Atlantean players doing this, they do like to do this 2 town center advance time, confirm what their opponent's doing, and then if they decide that it's possible, just go into the heroic age. Now, if you can get out enough of those satyrs, oracles, then you can get out a whole mass of satyrs, and that can be a really, really good answer to, say, mass berserks or mass infantry. However, like I was saying with the mass Hersa into Valkyrie idea, it's not going to really work if it's Hersa Valkyrie. What are you going to build? You have to get out heroes, and you already built those satyr. So you do have to confirm what your opponent's doing and then react to it, as is always the case in Age of Mythology. But a big boom here to kick this game off, as the Valkyrie just checking out things in the center of the map. Another little secret here to Norse, for those of you like kind of struggling with certain matchups and being like, man, if only I could get out like one myth unit early on, would be to send your Hersa to kill off these sorts of animals. Aggressive animals. You actually get 2 favor-ish if your Hersa takes these out. So you can just come forward and just snipe those down while your opponent is sort of messing around in their main base, and you can get some more favor in, get some technologies through, or whatever, and then heal them back up with your Valkyrie, or heal them back up with your Healing Spring. So the animals are obviously not going to do that much damage, but we do see Hyperion on the way. As Bones here, a couple more great hauls coming through, and a defensive game it is. And with defensive games, there is a tendency for teching to be very, very prominent here. Because, I mean, if you can't do anything with your army, well, you may as well tech. That's just how the game's going to work. As we do see Skadi on the way here. Another great haul going to be coming through. A lot of great hauls, actually. I don't know if the idea is mass Hersa or if it's going to be mass raiding cavalry for Bones, but Kimo, he hasn't really scouted, and this is something that's a little bit dangerous. To see these units have poked down and found an oracle here that can just jump into the town center, no problems, but a couple of units going to come over and defend here. 1 raiding cavalry through does dictate a little bit or hint at a whole bunch more raiding cavalry about to come through. You've also got that Freya, so it does make a little bit of sense here, as Kimo going to be opening into these CONTARIOUS, which, as much as I love this unit, and I think it's really, really strong, and I think it's a great unit to go for, I do think it's important to kind of observe what your opponent's doing without blindly just massing in and investing in the technology of heavy cavalry and all of the CONTARIOUS straight away. In a way, do raiding cavalry beat CONTARIOUS? Maybe not really. But do Norse units beat CONTARIOUS with berserks, Hersa mixed in, whole bunch of upgrades, heroic age Hersa as well? Kind of. kind of. As the army slowly coming through here. And we'll see what's going to happen. And another Great Hall going to be coming down as some Goaty are going to start coming through here. Bones spending his resources very nicely at the moment. Same too for Kimo, getting everything out, getting all those economic upgrades, copper armor in as well. As a raiding cavalry sneaking around to the bottom of the map, looking for something to take out. A couple of villages down the bottom here to get raided as the walls aren't set up just yet. Thundering Hooves about to come through for a big, big speed bonus as the Valkyrie raiding cavalry coming in onto this side. There will be Valor available, which Kimo very smartly uses, and that's going to be somewhat of a dead Valkyrie on that spot. As Kimo's still waiting out in the center of this map here to make anything happen. More Valkyrie, not Valkyrie, but more CONTARIOUS, more Satyr on the way here as well. As the Great Hall's getting sniped down onto this position. We do see up onto this spot here a citizen going down. Oracle goes down onto this point here as well. As the raiding cavalry going to sneak up over here and start taking some villages down. This is really, really big here for Bones if you can get some serious damage done. But we do have the Valors coming in. Meanwhile, in the middle of the fight, or the map here, going to be having a big fight for Kimo. He does have those heavy CONTARIOUS, so they should be a decent unit to be using as we have some Herdmen now queuing up. There's only a handful of these heroes out, but it's going to be enough to clean this up. Over on this side, we see Bones say, I see a ton of citizen here. Let me just frost it. How much is this? 5 plus 8? Man, you're looking at like 26, 28, 26 population there of villager, plus some hero citizens there as well. 5 of them, so super, super useful. A lot of economy kind of just stopping in place. It's almost like clicking Ancestors Eclipse on an opponent's economy there at this point in the game. And now Bones can take this opportunity to say, hey, you've got no gold income. That means you can't build any units here. Let me grab a town center, or let me get some more techs in, as he's going to be starting to get some of those unique techs. Winter Harvest. We've got that plow coming through. Bronze armor. All the good stuff there as well. As now the raiding cavalry, just as the frost ends, they decide, hey, it's time to come back in. Let me get some more villager kills. And now we see a very, very smart move here from Bones. He just says, okay, you're building CONTARIOUS and nothing but. I've got heroes. I've got Herdmen. That'll be enough here to counter your Satyr, counter your CONTARIOUS. Up onto this side. Looks like the villagers did fight back. And the raiding cavalry, just not enough to take these bad boys out just yet. They do have themselves that survival equipment. So very, very strong at that point as heavy cavalry coming through. I'm a bit surprised to see heavy cavalry and not heavy infantry in at this point, considering the current army situation. But he'll obviously be able to return back in now with this heavy cavalry and get even more damage done onto those gold villages as the army of Kimo attempting to push through the middle of the map. Yet again, more Herdmen coming through onto this position as the Frost Giant getting that damage done. And Chaos now going to be getting dropped down. But these units, they're just fighting themselves. And it's like Herdman fighting Herdman. That's not going to do that much damage to yourself. So I really like this decision from Bones. However, Kimo's economy is strong. He does have the tech advantage here. And he is making a big push of it on this spot. Up onto this position here, we've got the raiding cavalry getting cleaned up. Everything fixed onto that spot as a population. However, dropping for both players fairly significantly. And Kimo, because he's got that, or because Bones has got that defender's advantage, has decided to just pull back here. Decides to turn around onto this spot as Forest Fire going to get dropped down. This is a heroic age Forest Fire. Kimo has to respect this to some degree. And he does retreat back away as now the Arcus are starting to come through. However, Bones is already prepared for this. I was questioning that heavy cavalry move. However, with the Arcus transition, you know, he doesn't need to build Herdmen anymore. Mass raiding cavalry will be able to overpower a half CONTARIOUS, half Arcus army very, very nicely. As Kimo walking onto these flames here. These do a little bit of damage, right? Maybe they don't. No, they don't. I'm telling a lie. Maybe they used to. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know anything about this game. But more units for Bones coming out. He's going to be dropping down that hill fort as well as the fighting ensuing here nicely. Does Kimo have himself ballistics? Answer is yes, he does. Meanwhile, still raiding up onto this top position here as Kimo just consistently needs to pull his villagers away. However, who's winning on these raids is the question. Is Kimo losing? I don't actually think he is. He's picking off quite a lot of units while he's idling his army. However, Bones is in a fantastic position right now as those Arcus are going to be retreating away, getting that shoot and scoot micro, and this is something that Kimo's very, very good at. More units coming in, however, for Bones is he's going to be able to start pushing off of this center palace, this center position, and Kimo just not able to get his foothold just yet. Taking a look at his military production, he's got 10 buildings. He's got that upgrade in as well, levy, to boost the production. So his units will be coming out very, very quickly. On the other hand, we've got a decent amount of unit, buildings for Bones as well, 12. However, no upgrades means a little bit slower, and it does look like Kimo back to full population. Can he survive this fight? However, lots and lots of myth units are through for Bones at the moment, which is huge. He could continue to build these out as we are now starting to see some Jarls wanting to come through as well as more heavy raiders. An interesting decision there as to how that's going to work out for him. We'll have to wait and see. The Jarl versus the Contarious is an interesting fight. Sure, the Contarious has got more upgrades in terms of it's got both Poseidon's Secret and... No, it doesn't. It doesn't have more upgrades. The Jarl has got more upgrades, so it should actually be considerably stronger. 243 HP, 15 hack damage versus 12.6 hack damage, 175 upgrades, or armor is also very much favoring those Jarls. So this does make sense as a kind of a front line to kind of tank the Contarious while the raiding cavalry charge in to try and take out this mass Arcus ball. We'll see if he's going to be able to do it. Kimo's got no front line for these Arcus, but he is pulling back nicely to try and take out these units. Couple of units coming in to just tank up, but it's too much, it's looking like, for Bones, as he's going to be able to make a really, really good push through these portable rams coming through here, as well as the Frost Giant can come in and take this out nicely. Town center is denied in the center of the map, as both players going to have to stick onto 2 town centers apiece here. However, with Bones' army not fully chasing in, he's not able to get onto these units. I want to take a quick look at what Kimo sees at the moment. You see how he sees nothing at the top here? If Kimo moves forward, you can move in and try and get a surround on these Arcus. And if you get the surround on the archers, they get absolutely obliterated in the center of the map here. Now we see another god power getting used on the map, this dwarven gold mine over onto this spot. That house is going to be a little bit of a problem for these dwarves to get completely onto this one. However, they're getting so much gold. 1.66 a second there. Compare this over to these villages here at 1.6. So those dwarves are gathering faster than a unit that's got 2 population more than it. Obviously, it's a god power, and this is exactly what a god power is supposed to do, but that's a huge, huge boost for Bones' economy moving forward. As the raiding cavalry now swinging to the bottom side of the map, Contarious is going to be getting little bits of damage done over here onto these units, and Bones just sitting back. A couple more military buildings going to come down. I love just taking a handful of units out of my army to do this while the game is going on, because you just need more infrastructure with Norse. The more you have, the less sort of great raid here though for Bones. The less sort of like problems come in. Problems start to come when you start losing your infrastructure. But if you've got so much of it, it's just never going to matter. As we do see, Mythic Age now clicked up for Bones. He's going through tier. Raiding cavalry now just searching into the middle of the map. We've got Atlas coming through as well, so it's going to be big god power showdown here in the Mythic Age as the villagers now starting to move towards the middle of the game. We've got another palace coming up onto this spot. Mana coming through as well. Just a little bit of that time shift shenanigans here. This is something we haven't really seen Kimo utilizing all too much in this game. He hasn't gotten that temporal chaos technology just yet. I think this technology is a little bit slept on. It's really, really good in sort of the heroic age or mid-heroic age onwards, where you can start time shifting stuff all over the map. But nonetheless, these Arcus still getting huge amounts of damage done, but the town center on the top side here coming up, and Bones all of a sudden, both players have got that fortified town center, but Bones all of a sudden will be having a population advantage here. As the Arcus getting that fire done, retreating away nicely. We've got some more raiding cavalry Jarls and everything to boot coming in. Huge Fimbulwinter spawn to come in onto this position. He's hitting that main base over here. He's hitting this town center over here. The economy for Kimo will completely stop at this moment here. Look at the raiding cavalry in the queue right now for Bones. Kimo needs catapulties here. He needs catapulties. He needs the infrastructure for catapulties, and he needs it yesterday. However, it's looking like for the moment, he's able to hold as a lot of these units currently sitting idle. They need to get into the fight, takes down the palace. That's one palace down. You can go for the next one and be in a good spot as well. You also have to remember the economy is just absurdly good for Thor at this point, as the archers here holding on for dear life against this mass raiding cavalry shenanigery that's coming in onto this position. There's a portable ram sneaking forward to try and take out the palace in the middle, and we do see a desperation implode coming through as a whole bunch of raiding cavalry coming down to the bottom here. Bones' population does drop down, but look at it. It just comes straight back there as those raiding cavalry are just, they died, but they're going to be straight back into the fight. Got that Argus coming through. Kimo still needs to get himself that third town center to get himself some sort of equilibrium in this game. The problem is that Bones is just all over the map. Side build coming down onto the left side of the map. He's got the gold mine over here. Kimo trying to just push through on the middle, dropping that deconstruction for 10 favor there to take that hill fort down. Will allow him to keep pushing through the middle, but he does need some gold mines. Meanwhile, the raiding cavalry just all over Kimo's base, as to some degree here, I mean, who's got the advantage in speed? 5.8 versus 6.6. The raiding cavalry got that advantage. You need to get walls up all over the place. Now, Kimo did have walls over here, but, you know, he wasn't able to get over and deny this at all. As Kimo now in a fantastic spot with those Arcus. He's only got heavy Arcus at the moment, but those Argus, the myth unit with that special, if he gets that special off, it's absolutely huge. However, it doesn't look like it's going to be able to do as much as he might like, but both players are kind of struggling for population ever so slightly here. Town Center coming through for Kimo does finally manage to get that one up, but is it too little too late, as Kimo has made no attempt to build a single catapulti in this game versus what effectively is mass cavalry coming through from Bones. Bones trying to grab that champion cavalry in, but he's got a lot of units queued up, so he doesn't quite have the resources for it at the moment. If he's got a market up somewhere on the map, which he does, he could buy the food and get it in very, very quickly with 2,900, 3,000 gold in the bank. Whereas look at the difference here in resources. Kimo struggling mightily for those resources. A couple of CONTARIOUS swinging up to the top side of the map here. No attempt at a market or anything like that just yet from Kimo, as he's kind of realizes he's got to make something happen here. He is against the clock, so to speak, but what can he do at this moment, with the exception of actually counter the army that's coming? Now, I don't think Kimo even has medium infantry, so a tech switch at this point, with the economy being as shot as it is very, very challenging. He's got to get medium, heavy, at least heavy at the moment, to make those catapulti really, really strong. Plus, he needs a whole bunch of infrastructure with counter barracks, which I don't even think he's got. Well, he's got one of them. One counter barracks at the moment. As the Arcus retreating back here through the palace, you've got that boiling oil in as well. And with champion cavalry about to come in, this army of Bones is going to be so strong at this point. This Bones going to be ever so cautious, just waiting for his upgrade. Now it's in. Just took out the armory upgrades as well. A couple of bronze upgrades in versus some very decent upgrades here for Bones. He's got himself max pierce, which is with the Thor bonus as well. So what are these things sitting at? 57% pierce armor. Are you going to be hitting like a truck? But Bones still has to be somewhat cautious here. Gold mines are almost expired. Obviously, he's still got some gold left in the bank that he can kind of call upon if he gets the favor in. At the moment, it's not looking like that's all too possible. Chaos does get dropped down as Kimo's been gap closed, but he's able to win this fight. It's looking like, or at least the very start of it, nice little garrison micro over onto this position here as those Arcus, they are getting away from this beautifully here. However, the army of Bones looks like it is just simply too much here for Kimo. He's still trying to make something happen. He's still making these units, still making Contarious, still making Arcus, but it's not looking like he's able to win these fights. In all honesty, the palace is going down. Villages are coming down. The units are pumping out here for Bones in a really, really big way, though the production here for Kimo is exceptional. He's actually managing to keep himself afloat here somehow, some way, as Bones, he needs to get those units back out. He's now very much behind on population, but palace is down. And he's going to be retreating away as, I mean, Kimo's still having some troubles with economy here ever so slightly. A whole bunch of Dodie actually queued up at the moment. Let's have a look at the hill fort situation. There's only 2 hill forts and one is not even completed. So he's not able to kind of switch in to Huskal at the moment, which would be an absolute amazing counter to what Kimo's got here. But he has to set those hill forts up. Now, if you want to do this and you're like, I really want to make Huskal, kind of the best way to go about this is you just keep fighting like this, but you just take 1 or 2 units into your back base and you just build a hill fort. It takes about 90 seconds to build a hill fort. If you get up 3 or 4 of them, then those Huskals actually start coming out in a decent number and they can be a decent thing for you to use. This shoot and scoot micro is just absolutely insane here, keeping Kimo afloat against all these raiding cavalry. But after all is said and done, the cavalry keep coming, the Arcus keep dying, and the economy of our Thor player is just way too big. And Kimo has not really done anything to kind of get himself an edge in this game. No side builds. No attempt to take down this town center. Potentially a dock on here with some siege ships or something. Not sure if that actually works all too well in Retold, but maybe into the main base here with some time shifts to target down that hometown center with some fire siphons. But Bones, he's still able to keep pushing through. One thing here for Bones is he's not really spending that favor because he wants those Dwarven gold mines. So he's not, I mean, he does have a Frost Giant in here, but getting those Dwarven gold mines is probably the better call at this point, as he does manage to push Kimo all the way back. Some raiding cavalry now going to decide to try and take down the town center on this side. There's no portable rams over there for the time being, not even queuing them up anymore. One other unit that's obviously really, really good in these sorts of situations is the ballista as well. Even just having like 3 or 4 ballista is enough to kind of zone those Arcus away and give yourself a significant advantage towards the start of the fight. As Bones here continuing to charge forward, still hasn't managed to get any sort of significant surround onto these Arcus here as he just continues to attack move in, but it's looking like the front line for Kimo yet again falling, and Kimo in that moment realizing he's just not going to be able to make any ground with these Arcus. Now, funnily enough, I asked you the question, I posed the question, what if instead of champion Contarious, how much does this actually cost? What's these like 600 and something? This is like heavy infantry. What if instead of heavy Contarious, and instead of continuing to mass these Contarious out, he just got himself medium infantry, heavy infantry, and a whole bunch of counter barracks to make out catapulties here. Yes, they are going to be heavy and maybe not be able to afford the champion, but in having those catapulties out, all of a sudden you're forcing the Thor player to actually build something not named cavalry, and then these Arcus, which surprisingly did much better than I thought they would have in this situation, would absolutely be stonking because those raiding cavalry would get decimated. And then on top of that, in the fact that you're winning fights, now you're able to get those upgrades and you can actually go into champion Contarious if you want, but more so champion infantry is an affordable prospect, as well as all your upgrades, and you're actually going to make some ground, or at least force your opponent into a completely different unit composition, which, I mean, Catapulty Arcus, the only real thing that I can think of for Norse to really counter this is going to be Huskal, and as we already said, it's kind of challenging to make those out. Potentially Berserks here with some more upgrades so they don't exist with the God Path that Bones has gone through here would work, but, you know, this is a challenging one, but really well played here from Bones. Gets a win against Kimo. If we take a quick look at this post game, and just tells the story of many stories here, and you see the resources for Thor. They overtake so early, and in a word, I feel like this is just part and parcel of this matchup, that if you want to go into a boom war against Thor, against Norse in general, you know, the Norse player, if they play it really well, will generally come out ahead. And I think this has been true for the longest time in Age of Mythology as well. I'm not sure why. It seems like Atlantean players think that things are different here. But, you know, there was definitely room for a really big attack onto this gold mine in the middle here, getting Kyribalis to set up, getting Precious set up over here. There was gold mines over on this side. No gold up on this side here. Obviously, easy for me to say as the observer, but you know, this was a really nice map for some one town center aggression, even on a map like Watering Hole. But we did see some good action here. If you guys enjoyed this one, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTubes, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next game.